sustainable company. So please give him a warm welcome, a round of applause. Diderik van Wingerden.
All right, thank you very much. Good that you're all here. When I had contact with Dimitri in January, I thought maybe it's nice to tell you a story of what we are working on, what we have been working on. And I thought of a title back then, How to Go from a Cool Hack to a Sustainable Company. And now I'm supposed to tell you the answer, right? How to do that. Well, I'm going to try that. And I want to invite you all just to ask questions along the way, make it a little bit interactive. I mean, we're not with that many people, so just feel free to walk to the mic or just shout out, and I'll answer your questions.
Preferably walk the mic. Don't sit there alone.
All right, Mark, preferably walk to the mic. So in the program it has these questions that I'm going to answer. How to go from prototype to fair tech mass production, how to make money with free and open, where to find customers, how to get people to work with you without any money in the bank. So since you're all here, I guess it's these topics, these questions seem a little bit interesting to you. They are to me. And I'm going to sort of take you through it. What we have learned so far. And what we have learned so far in the Totem experiment. We have started an organization with the name Totem, and our idea is to develop products. Going from this cool hack that we think, wow, this is amazing, everybody should be able to benefit from this, and how can we scale it up? And with sustainable, we mean a sustainable company like taking care of the environment, the people, but also making money. Because if you make money, you can continue making other products. This guy, Simon Sinek, always says, well, you have to start with why, right? Maybe you know this circle, like the golden circle. You start with why, and then you're going to talk about how, and then you're going to talk about what. So I thought, yeah, maybe I should also do that. You know, about our values, our passions, and then our process, and the structure we've set up, and then maybe at the end of my talk to you about what we're actually doing. But I think since this is Hacker Hotel, you're more interested in the what. So I'm just going to skip right to the what. And then maybe at the end we can go back to the how and the why. But I'll sort of also leave that up to you. If you have any questions in the meantime, or at some point you say like, how do you put this into context? Why are you doing this? Then we can go back. So I'm just going to skip to a whole bunch of slides. How, I'm going to skip that too. And then go to the what. So what are we doing? I just put up the posters there. I was supposed to do that earlier, but didn't have time for it, but now they are there. So one of the products we are working on is the Totem Health Patch, which is basically a simple sticker you can put on your chest, and it measures your vital signs. And for version 1, this means your activity, so it has an accelerometer in it, your body temperature, so it has a temperature sensor, and your heart rate with ECG. And that is not so new. If you know a little bit about what's happening in innovation in this space, there are already a bunch of products out there who claim to do the same thing. However, how are we different? Well, of course, we're doing this open source, which is a first, because nobody else is doing that right now. And we're trying to look at sustainable electronics, which is kind of pioneering. I mean, I'm sure you know Fairphone, right? What they are doing. But for the rest, there are not many companies who are figuring that out, how to do that. And we're looking at sort of like a generic purpose thing. You can apply it for research. Maybe if you happen to have children, they are sick a lot, maybe you can just put a patch on their body and then you can see their fever developing. Sports, of course. Maybe chronic patients, chronic heart disease, something like that. Elderly care is also a hot topic right now in the Netherlands. And clinical use. Not the ICU, of course, because there you have the expensive equipment, but we've talked to some nurses, and they say, well, for a lot of patients we have to take their blood pressure, we have to sort of count the breath that they're taking and see how they are doing, and that's fine, of course, but it's not always accurate. I mean, you don't always have the time for it. So maybe with a simple solution like the health patch, you can do that sort of all the time. So this is the prototype. Actually, 2 prototypes we have in development right now. I think we have 4 PCBs now, and we have learned a lot about how things are not working. And that's also like Edison, right? How many times did he try to invent the light bulb until finally he succeeded? So, but the skin temperature, that's pretty okay. Accelerometer is also easy, but we're really struggling with the heart rate. But we're just continuing that, and in the meantime we can also do other things. And I will tell you a little bit more about what we can do in the meantime while we are developing our own PCB. Robert was here yesterday. We are working with Robert on this project, and to see if we can sort of incorporate something health from space into the health patch, which is maybe nothing more than a promotional thing, but if there is something valuable, we will use it. But to be able to say, well, we have space technology in our product already sounds interesting. We're also working with this guy. He's working for Leiden University and the VU Amsterdam. He has done research on how to make sense of accelerometer data. He also has some code libraries, so we're seeing, okay, we can just apply that to what we are doing and sort of start to create the GitHub for health algorithms, right? I'm sure you get that. Visionet is another research database with a bunch of open data that we can use and sort of explore before we have our product out there, before we start collecting data, to already, get some sample data in and to let our algorithms go on it and to see what happens. The research kit, I'm sure you know that. I haven't had the time yet to really dive into it. If some of you have, I love to talk to you. It's very promising. They say it's open source. I've heard some arguments that it's not really open source, but maybe we can connect the health patch to ResearchKit, or maybe we should develop our own version of it. We have interest from NOC NSF. You have like the big sports center in Papendal in the Netherlands, and they are really interested in what we are doing. They want access to all the data, the raw data, like a lot of products that are already out there. They give you this API that's connected to some cloud server in the US, and they say, well, we don't like that particularly, and also we don't get all the raw data, and they want that. And this is a picture of a workshop we attended recently. From the VU Amsterdam also, a bunch of researchers who want to do research on like psychology and sociology, and see like what kind of effects does this have on your physiology, your heart rate, your blood pressure, your activity. So they are also very interested in working with our open product, because again, they get access to the raw data. They can control where the data goes, so all kind of ethical things with data going somewhere else, they can control that. The Hach Hogeschool did a project in the so-called Smart Lab, where they just used the accelerometer from a smartphone and helped people who were revalidatiecentrum, revalideren, and they are also very interested in working with us, they said at least, so we can see maybe we can start to do some student project also in our community. So I'll be talking to them shortly to see how we can help them. And yes? Oh yes, we have entered I don't know if you heard of the Fireware program. It's like sort of like an Amazon cloud thing, but then for Europe. They've spent a tremendous amount of money, the EU has, so basically you have spent a lot of money on Fireware, in case you didn't know, you did. And now they want people to start using it. So they have taken 100 million euros, say, okay, we're going to spend 100 million to motivate companies to start using this Fireware technology. And we thought, oh, maybe we can use some of this 100 million and to use it to our advantage. So we are now in the Phenodex Accelerator program in phase 2, and also continuing there and to get some money there to speed up development. And we're looking for a crowdfunding campaign. I'm not sure if you know about this one. It's the AMP-strip. They're a very successful crowdfunding campaign running right now. And I get updates, I think, about every week. And the health patch we are doing is a lot like what they are doing, but ours is open source with an open API, etc. Yes, this Scanadu. So we are developing our product, and at the same time we have like inspirational things that are happening. So one of the things is the Scanadu, which I already showed it to some of you. If you haven't seen it, just come check it out after my talk. It's like a tricorder kind of device of Star Trek. You just put it here on your forehead, and it starts measuring a bunch of stuff about yourself. And then you see like green lights, it means like everything is okay. If there's something orange, it's like, okay, what's happening? And if it's red, it's really bad, right? And the funny thing is like what the effect is on people. It's also like some people see, like if everything is green, it's like, oh my god, I'm healthy. It's good. I'm doing good. I don't need to do anything else. And if it's orange, people start to, okay, I think it didn't scan correctly. I want to scan it again. And they start it 2 times, 3 times. And then if everything is green, it's like, oh, yes, I'm good. But if it's orange, then, well, they start to doubt the device. That's a really interesting phenomenon. So at the moment we are developing the PCB, like I told you. But at the same time we have found these things. You can just order them from China for, here it says 21 euros, but I think you can also get them for $20. And it has Bluetooth connection, an accelerometer, and a temperature sensor. Right now we are developing an app for it, and then we can already start gathering data. You just put it on your chest, and I think I have a picture of that right here. We are making an encasing for it, and then we can already start with the algorithms, start with the database, and at the same time also develop our own version. And the way we want to verify and to develop it into something that really works, that's accurate, because that's sort of the core that you hear of a lot of fitness trackers is like, I don't trust the data, is it really measuring what it should measure? Well, we thought maybe we should just, instead of sort of building a theoretical model and then just sort of figuring that out, we just are going to first compare it to what's already out there. So here's like a cheap jawbone kind of thing where we also have access to the source code of the app, and with this one as well. And then we can just say, okay, let's just wear them all, and we get all the raw data, and then just see how that translates into information, and then does it make sense? The source code is on GitHub of that one, and we have a bunch of stuff out there. Right now we have a starting community, if I say a handful of people who are really passionate about like, oh yeah, I understand what you're doing and I want to help you. This, by the way, is I have a laser pointer. Right here, this one is from an American startup. It's called Vital Connect. And we got one of the patches there, so we can also sort of try to reverse engineer what they did and to figure that out. So the first product we are doing is the health patch. Another product we are doing right now, that's the second and last one, is an energy monitor. So to give you access to your own energy data. And that's specifically for the Netherlands, because we have this one in the Netherlands. The smart meter, the Dutch smart meter. Who knows the Dutch smart meter? Yeah, most of you. Who has, strong opinions about the Dutch smart meter? Yes, exactly. Well, the thing is, sorry?
Who has one?
Yes, I have one. Good question. Yes, right. So probably I agree with most of your arguments against the smart meter, privacy, etc. However, there's another side to it, namely that you can get access to your energy data, and that to us is pretty interesting. What is your question or remark? Yes. Yes. Yes, that's right. However, this one is more accurate, and the fact is that we already know that 90% of all the people in the Netherlands are going to accept the smart meter. So then we already know that's out there, people have it, and then the question is, can we do something interesting with it? Well, of course, the stupid things about the smart meter is that you cannot directly access your data, because you have to put something in between, a connection. And our device is a connection for exactly that. It connects to your smart meter, and then with, again, open source, open hardware, it enables your data to go where you want it to go. It's completely up to you. And until now, the products that are out there, with a few exceptions, sort of tell you, well, if you buy our product, our device, then your data goes to our app or our website, and you don't have any influence on it. Even with some energy suppliers, like Eneco, for example, you buy that product, if you leave them as a customer, your device becomes unusable. Well, where did this idea come from? I worked for a grid operator called Enexis, and we developed this product, which is actually a pretty nice one. It's pretty simple product. We already have it tested out with 1,000 customers. The product itself is working perfectly. It only stores your data locally. Nobody can get to it if you don't want to. But then for political reasons, this product was cancelled. But the promise of the project was, well, everybody who has a smart meter in the Netherlands should have easy access to their own data. So just let's give everybody a really cheap, simple device with a smart meter and they can do it. So, but since this project was put on hold, thanks, we decided just to go for it ourselves. So that's what we're doing right now. So we have connection. We are talking to Bitchly, which is a US company. They can do something called itemization, so you can sort of see, okay, how much is my refrigerating using, my washing machine using, etc. Emon CMS, that's a UK initiative. They are doing a Kickstarter right now, also very interesting, especially when you're not living in the Netherlands. However, it's because we are in the Netherlands, and if you want to use a smart meter, then the solution they have is a bit expensive with clip-on things, etc. It's better. It's more. It has more functions than what we are doing. However, it's also more expensive. But we can use their open source CMS for energy data. Enelogic, it's a Dutch company. We are connecting the prototype we have right now to their dashboards. The same for EnergyWorks, also connecting to them. That's the app that we have that is right now is open source app, so we can just reuse it as well. And we are building a prototype. Right now our prototype that I have right here, it's this prototype. It's a 3D printed still. And it's actually, it has like an Arduino type of processor on it and an Ethernet connection and an RJ14, I think, that's it. And that's it. It's really, really simple. And right now it sends the data to Xively, and then we're picking it up in, I called it the Energy Data Broker, but it's like you can run it on your Raspberry Pi in Mono, and then you can decide, okay, where do I want my data to go? To Enelogic, to maybe mindergas.nl, it's another Dutch website, EnergyWorks, or others. And yeah, so the firmware, you can just edit it in Arduino IDE and then just upload it with FTDI. It's on GitHub as well. Oh yeah, and we've decided last week maybe it would be nice to have a dev kit. So right now we're looking at producing 25 prototypes. We've made a cost breakdown, and I think the price will be, no, I know the price will be around 100 euros. So anyone interested into getting one, just come to me and I will sign you up. No obligations yet, but you just want to have an idea if this is interesting, and also what you expect it to have. What do you expect it to do out of the box? What do you expect it to have in the box? For more, you can sign up for our newsletter. It's on wemaketotem.org. We have a Totem Make Day. It's sort of like a mini hacker hotel without the hotel. We already have done 3. We have a 4th planned in Rotterdam. My phone number, email address. We recently have a mailing list as well. And oh yeah, in my presentation I put some YouTube videos and I put them in a playlist. So this is everything I wanted to tell you about the what we are doing. I can tell you now more about the why or the how, or I can answer some of your questions. Does anybody have a question about this? Wanting to know more about something? All right. Yes.
It's not recording, is it? Oh, it is. You've talked about what you made and what the ideas behind it are.
Yeah.
The title of the talk was something about fair electronics.
Yes.
And having a kind of environmental and friendly to the people
Yes.
Startup.
Yes.
Can you tell us something more about how you go about producing a product in a fair trade or at
Yes. Yes, absolutely. I can tell you how far we got right now. So, first of all, I told you we are doing this open hardware, open software, free and open source software. So already that in itself already contributes to sustainability. In that you buy a device, you have complete control over it. If the supplier doesn't want to update firmware or software or whatever, you can repurpose it, etc. Right? Then we are, let me go back to the how. Yes. Of course, I approached the people from Fairphone to sort of see how they can help us at this stage into sourcing the minerals, right? That's what they do. They have, like, from the sourcing of the minerals, the mines that come into the phone with some types of metals. They are completely sustainable, taking care of the people for that. At this moment, they are not yet interested in talking to us. Maybe that will come in the future when we are a little bit further along. But we have talked to Metabolic. They are in Amsterdam, and they find our project very interesting. However, they are focused on the so-called circular economy, which is all like big companies doing big projects and like doing big consulting stuff, and that's starting at 100,000 euros for a consulting project. So that means when you're looking at sustainability, the ecological side of it, it's a lot of pioneering. I almost hardly found anything out there. So I guess we sort of have to figure it out ourselves. And what we're going to do is, for example, put a number or a QR code on every product that you can scan, and then you will get to a page explaining you, well, how can you take the product apart, which parts are bioplastic, which parts are this or that. And also, of course, like the typical hacker manifesto, use normal screws and use standard protocols and standard ports and etc. Stuff like that, sort of the basic point. But I think that to really make it ecologically sustainable 100% is not, even Fairphone cannot do it, and they have a lot of money. And as you know, maybe like Apple and the Samsung and companies like that, they are not even starting it. But I hope that will develop, and we are sort of pioneering in that. One thing we could also do is sort of publish all the supplies where we get our parts, and to sort of ask them for that CSR report if they have any, and providing that transparency. That's one of the recommendations that Metabolic gave us. But we're not there yet, and I'm also curious what will happen if we do it. Will they be happy with us, or will they at some point say, well, we don't want to supply you any more components? I don't know. I'm curious to find out. As for the people part, that sort of goes in the same direction for like the first part of the supply chain where you don't have any influence on it. Well, where we have influence, we can of course do a lot there. So, to look in the Netherlands, where are we getting our products made, assembly, etc. Does that sort of answer your question a little bit? Yeah? All right. So, one thing we also need to figure out is the structure of Totem. How is it going to work? We are starting a community. People are contributing. They don't get any money for that in exchange, but at the same time we want to earn money. This is the experiment. This is probably the biggest part of the experiment. I mean, producing the products and mass producing the products is also a challenge, but it's not the most difficult thing. Getting this right is the most difficult thing. So we have examples for that, maybe NVU, how Arduino did that, what Red Hat is doing, WordPress, Matchstick.tv I put there. I don't know if you know them. It's like an open source, open hardware version of the Chromecast. So right now we are thinking of in the direction of creating the org, the foundation, where we can do the research, ideation, concepting, prototyping, testing, working with grants, working with the community, doing small kind of projects. And then we have the .com, which could be maybe multiple commercial companies, and anybody could do that, right? Anybody could just say, okay, there is knowledge here that is licensed under the GNU GPL version this or that, and I want to take it, I have launching customers, and I want to start mass producing. Then you go scaling, do that with a small team. We like to call it the Ocean's 11 model. You have like companies who work like with the A-team model, it's like always the same team and they can solve every problem. And the Ocean's 11 model is like, I have this problem, what is like the best team to tackle this problem? Learning from others as well. This nice book, Building Open Source Hardware, is out there. Also contains some business models, how you can make money from it, consulting, support, hosting, etc. We already talked about that one. These are some pictures of the Totem Make Days. You can see it's really small scale. We're using Kanban boards and sort of figuring things out. It's really great energy every time we do it. The people helping out right now. On the website, of course. And a wiki that's under development. So one strategy to build community and also to get customers is just to get out there. Do you have a question?
Yeah. How do you deal with the hardware and the firmware that is there and the certification?
Of what?
Of the hardware you're building.
To
be able to sell it, I think it needs to be certified.
You mean like CE certified?
Yeah.
Yes, that's a good question.
You're buying stuff in China?
Yes.
It's called practice?
Yes.
But a lot of stuff developed over there using different regulations.
Yes.
So, how do you deal with that?
Yeah, that's for me that's an easy question, but doesn't answer you. But my co-founders deal with that.
Okay.
They have a lot of experience doing that. Yes. So right now we have a core team of 3 people. This is John, Diemer, and me, and they have a lot of experience doing commercial products, developing electronics products, and also toys and a whole bunch of stuff, and also getting it certified. How exactly that works, I don't know. If you're interested, I can bring you into contact with them, and you can ask them your question. Yeah. There is another part of the health patch, of course, which should not only be CE certified, but at some point when it starts to do medical things, it should also be FDA approved and a process like that. So you also thought, okay, do we want to get FDA approval and how do we go about it? Because a lot of the fitness sensors that are out there are not FDA approved. Some of them are. This one that I have here, this one is FDA approved. And this startup was bought by Jawbone, I think for the only reason because they got this FDA approval. Well, our strategy right now is to just get the product out there, get it sold, to get experience, to see what's happening. And as soon as we have the feeling, okay, we have a good product that measures what it should measure, it is stable, then we can see, do we have the funds and can we go into the certification process. Also, another side note about that is that it is shown that in Europe it is ridiculously easy to get your medical product CE certified for medical reasons. There was a documentary about it a few months ago on Dutch television. It's like you only pay, I think, 2,000 or 3,000 euros, some ridiculous low amount, and then you only have to say, yes, I did everything right, and then they just give you the certification.
Like to put a sticker on it, you can, and it's legal. It's not a certification at all, there's no testing, whatever, it's just a declaration that whoever puts the sticker or label on there declares that it conforms to the regulation. So from that point forward, it's your responsibility. But you don't have to pay anyone for this.
All right,
Well,
thanks.
Well, maybe to press some tickets for you.
Yes, yeah, okay, thanks. I didn't know that. Yeah.
You may be thinking about something else.
Well, there was a TROS radar documentary, and they were talking about the CE medical certification, but maybe I got it wrong. At least it was about, sorry?
That might be different.
Yes, it was about a medical, and what they did, they went to Albert Heijn, and they bought some oranges, or mandarijntjes. They took out the oranges out of the net, and this plastic net, they got certified to implant in people's bodies for a few thousand euros. So I think that should be really troubling, because for this type of certification, surgeons and doctors also look like, okay, it's certified by the EU, so it's perfectly safe to put it inside people's bodies. So fortunately, at this moment, we're not yet putting things in people's bodies. Maybe we are in the future. I mean, is there somebody here who got the chip implanted? This morning? No? Okay, so that maybe is still a bridge too far right now, but you can imagine if you have like diabetes or you have a chronic heart disease, that you may be more willing to implant something in your body if it can save your life.
Yeah, but would you like a sub-level smart meter?
A smart meter?
Sub-level.
Tell me more.
Could monitor your own energy use.
Right. Matrix style. Yes, I'm going to go back to the questions that I was supposed to answer. How to go from prototype to Fairtech mass production. At this moment we have some contacts, so Fairphone and Metabolic, and we know as soon as we have launching customers who are willing to order a great deal of these energy monitors, we are looking at several tens of thousands, and also health patches, then we need to figure that stuff out. We do have some contacts also with people who make bioplastics and stuff like that. How to make money with free and open? Well, for physical products, that's pretty easy in that you sell something physical, so it's perfectly normal that if I give you something that you give money in return, so that already helps a lot. However, at some point it could very well be when the product is a big success, like with Arduino, then you get copies and clones and they don't make as much money as when the technology would be closed. So that's a consequence, but they have had a very big impact. And we are looking for impact as well. I mean, to me that's more interesting than earning a lot of money. Where to find customers? Well, in the Netherlands it's just get out of the building, go talk to people, get introductions, go pitch here and there, and amazingly you get to talk to NOC, NSF, universities. We hope to be talking to hospitals soon in a few weeks. How to get people to work with you without any money in the bank. I didn't put in a slide there, but you have something now called slicing pie. It's a methodology. Who heard of slicing pie methodology? Nobody? Okay. Who of you have ever started a project or a startup with co-founders sort of trying to figure out? Nobody. Oh, yeah, one person. Okay, 1.5. So, to be very brief about it, always the problem is like, okay, how much equity am I going to give you and how much equity I'm going to keep for myself? And you always run into problems with that because you're trying to fix the equity when you start, and along the way, if you work together for a year and then he decides to go, or he didn't do anything, or you didn't do anything, or your situation changes, and then what do you do? Well, Slicing Pie has a solution for that. It's called dynamic relative equity split. And we are using that right now with Totem, and at least everybody accepted to use this method, so that's already pretty interesting. And what you do, everybody logs their hours, logs the money they're putting into the project, and then at every moment in time you can sort of create a pie chart saying, okay, this part is of this person, this part is of this person, this part is of this person, and as soon as you would go to a valuation or venture capital, then you can fix it. That's all I have to tell you. Is there anything, I'm curious if there is anybody here who said, well, I expected something completely different and now I have these questions that I didn't get answered. Please also tell me and see if I can answer them. All right. Thank you very much.